Okay. Thank you for joining us today. I call the August 18th, 2022 meeting of the Human Rights Commission to order. Let's begin with an introduction of commission members. If we can start with
I'm Sarah Boonstoppel, Commissioner.
Matur Alier, Commissioner.
Cody Severson, Chair.
Ahmed Shale, Vice Chair.
Carolyn B. Craft, Commissioner.
Is it-
Nancy Boyle, Commissioner.
And hi, Commissioner Denise Kolpak. And so Linda's on the phone too, it sounds like, right? I think she chimed in.
Nancy,
Oh, sorry,
Nancy Boyle.
I'm sorry.
That's
Thank you.
okay.
Thank
No
you.
worries.
So we have both Barry and Nancy. Great. The next item is to approve the minutes of the June 16th, 2022 meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Approve. Matur.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Oh. Perfect. All right, motion carried. The next item is public comment. Those who wish to address the Human Rights Commission must use the sign-in sheet. Speakers must state their name and will be limited to 2 minutes. Comments should not contain profanity or personal attacks. Staff, do we have anyone signed up for public comment? No. Okay. Okay. All right. We will move on to Dr. Hogan introducing our new Commissioner Liaison, Denise Kolpak.
To the Commissioner and all the individuals that attended today, we have a new liaison, and her name is Denise Kolpak. We want to welcome you to the Human Rights Commission. That this is going to be a fun-filled agenda that we have for this year. So if you don't mind just introducing yourself to everybody and just telling us a little bit about Commissioner Kolpak.
Sure, thank you. Denise Kolpak, the newest city commissioner. I've been now on the job for just over a month. It seems like a year. It's been wonderful. I'm really looking forward to serving as your liaison. I had the pleasure of meeting with Cody and Ahmad this week, preparing the agenda and getting to know a little bit more about the work of the commission. I took a look at the work plan, and I think Cody's going to be talking about that today as well. I'm eager to see what this commission does and hope that the engagement of this commission continues to grow and becomes more and more important to this community. So I'm really looking forward to working with you.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you. And I apologize, I skipped a beat. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda that we have as it's been typed out?
So move.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. I keep on forgetting about virtual. Okay, thank you. Motion carried. All right, so we brought in the new commissioner, and all right, can we get an update on the election board from Member B. Craft?
Certainly. Dr. Hogan and Ahmed and I had a meeting with officials from the Cass County Board of Elections, referencing the troubles that some people had, especially at West Acres, with voting, as minority people, and troubles they had voting. So we met with them to discuss our concerns. I felt the meeting was very good. They were responsive. What came out of it was, first of all, a need for sensitivity training for all election workers. They have a 2-hour block of instruction, and in that, it doesn't appear that there's anything revolving work with minority communities and so forth. Ahmed volunteered himself to talk about his experience when he first became a citizen 20 years ago and how excited he was to vote, and then his experiences at various polling places. Our goal is that everybody should be welcome to vote. So that we talked a lot about that. They expressed a need or a desire to be able to reach out to diverse groups to get poll workers. And we talked a good deal about that. Just for your interest, poll workers are paid. And they receive training, but as most of us who vote here know, there's very little diversity in your polling places. So the goal would be to increase diversity of workers in polling places. So in that regard, we had other discussions, but in that regard, I'd like to put forth a motion for the commission to consider. I move that the DEI, in coordination with Cass County Election Board, host a meeting with representatives from the various diverse minority groups. Meeting should be open to the press. The purpose of the meeting would be, first, to review state of North Dakota voting requirements and to recruit individuals to work at the polls. Then request that the DEI report back on the effort to the September HRC meeting. Is there a second to my motion?
I will definitely second that.
Second.
Second, the report.
Do we want to have dialogue on it? What do people think?
Any additions or?
I think just to add a comment to that, I think it's really great opportunity for us to actually get involved in just for the learning process as well. And, then because the more we know about the process, the more it opens us to connecting back to the community and actually helping in recruitment efforts. And so I would definitely.
Just as a comment, I think it's important that we have press coverage due to the fact that we had press coverage that was very negative. And so to show our efforts to be very inclusive and address the concerns that were addressed in the primary vote. And just as an aside, the vote is November 8th, so we don't have a lot of time to get this all out to people.
And
Time is of the essence, I guess.
certainly. And I know we have had some conversations with Brandy over at Cass County government, who's been receptive to just our inquiries on it. So I think that it's something that we can move forward with. And I think that Dr. Hogan and myself and Ahmed at least can work on creating like that, just the press release and stuff. And we'll have to work with Greg in communications and get that out before the next probably meeting then next month to start on that.
I spoke with Brandy in regards to us getting together and to learn more about the election process and how they do what they do. And she, by and large, gave me an email to forward to Commissioner Kopak, Ahmed, and Cody. And they can ask whatever questions they need to ask, and she would be more than willing to answer those questions. However, I am still in the process of pressing to get more in person, face to face. So, if there's other things that we need to put out, in the atmosphere or what have you, is that everybody will feel comfortable in what has been said and what has been done.
So if I may, Cody, I did set forward so I did follow up with her, right? Thank you, Dr. Hogan, and sent you her reply. There's some good information in there on how to sign up to be a poll worker but she's also going to get back to me with a more detailed reply to my more pointed question about what happened at the primary election and some concerns that we talked to her about. So I'll share that with this commission when I receive that.
In our discussion, initially, they tried to broaden it all out, that it was a North Dakota Department of Transportation issue, the way they check, and we brought it back to the issue in hand was what happened at West Fargo. And that goes back to the training issue, that goes back to whoever was in charge, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. I just want to sort of confirm that I understand what happened, which is that they were not offered provisional ballots. Instead, they were sent home, correct? Like to go get their passport or whatever.
Yeah.
They should be offered provisional ballots.
Well, the thing is, when they were sent back, some of
Right.
them did go to another location and had no issue.
Yeah,
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
That doesn't surprise me. Thanks.
Okay.
Excuse me, could I offer a suggestion to Dr. Hogan and others who are leading these efforts? And thank you. Thank you for following up on this so quickly, needed to. There's another community group working on this issue, and I just want to make sure there's an intersection between the efforts here. It was a group that really quickly brought together poll watchers when the problems first surfaced in early voting. And they have been meeting since the election as well. So I would just recommend that there's a coordination there. At least contact be made with Amy Jacobson is one of the leaders there and others to coordinate efforts.
Thank you, Commissioner Nelson. This is Denise Kolpak. I have met with Amy about this, so I appreciate that.
Great, thank you.
I suppose we want to.
You got to vote.
Yep. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. All right, motion passes. And then we'll just put that on the docket to, we'll have maybe an executive interim meeting. We'll have to send out, I'll send out the email that you sent to me to the commissioners so that we can have a exchange on that, and then we'll reconvene on it at the next meeting next month.
Can I make a quick request? When this meeting is scheduled, so that I don't have to rely on media, can you just let us all know? So that if we want to sit in, we can, because I would very much like to sit in.
Sure.
Thanks.
Okay, any more comments on that? Okay. All right, so then moving on to just announcements that we have in general.
You guys have anything this week? Well, I'd like to say something
Sure.
to the public, and for those of you that are watching. The race exhibit is still here at the atrium, out in the hallway there. We still invite all of you to come out and to take a look at the exhibit, if you will. We have sessions that is going to be continuously occurring over at the library to talk it out, to say whatever or to ask whatever you want to ask in regards to exhibit. So I just want to put that out, is that the exhibit is going to be here until, I believe, the middle of September, and after that, it's gone. But in the meantime, we've gotten a good response thus far, and we just want to keep the momentum going, so it's there. And for everyone, boys, girls, dads, moms, come out and just take a look at it and go from there. Yeah.
I have a staff announcement as well, if it's time for that. The Fargo Fire Department application period is open for getting new hirees. And the application period is open until September 5th. We are going to be hosting an orientation to try to explain to people what the job is and try to spark interest, if you will. We had one yesterday. The next one is on August 23rd at 6 p.m., and that's at our Fire Station 4. Anybody that's interested in that should go to fargofire.gov, and you can look at the career tabs and get all the information. But we'd really like this commission's help in pointing people in our direction. Thank you.
Hey, Jamie, just out of curiosity, and you may or may not know this, do we know where these recruitment processes are going to? Are they just here in North Dakota, or are they?
That would be, so you're wondering where the advertisements are going out to?
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't have that.
Okay.
I know you've been a part of those discussions.
Right.
The one to put that to would be Craig Nelson.
Gotcha.
So we can ask him exactly where that's going. I know, yeah, we've appreciated your voice in helping move us in better directions for recruitment.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Three other things I'd like to touch on before we get to a statement that I think Ahmed wants to make. First is that we're still looking at getting an update, I think, next month from Greg in the communications department again on the website and where we're at with our own page and where the links on there go, and to make sure that we have accountability for us and the community, what we're doing there. Second is the work plan that we had started on prior to Dr. Hogan joining our bunch, and just that I think that we are moving back to going back to that. And so in the coming months, we're going to talk about who wants to work on which segment of the plan and restructuring our meetings to fit into the different segments working on that. I don't know, because you weren't here when we started, Sarah, right?
I would love to see it.
Sure.
Cody, could you resend it to us all so we all can all remember what we were doing?
Yes.
That would be great.
Because I don't think it's on the website or social media. Is it on the website?
It's on your page under
Fantastic.
resources. Yes, it's there.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
I will look for it there too.
Okay.
But also, if it's updated, resend it.
It hasn't been.
Okay.
I know there are 3 segments in there, I think. I don't remember what all of them were. I think Carolyn and I were working on the first segment, which I'm going to claim that. I really enjoyed that one. But yeah, so moving, because again, I think originally we were going to have like a half hour in open session and then move to the work plan sessions after that. So yeah, I think that's maybe something we're going to work on in the next few months.
Great.
Okay, and then the third thing was just that I want to have a conversation with everybody about what we're looking for in terms of the open seats that we have on the commission and what types of skill sets we want to look at when we're searching for new candidates. Because I think we have 3 open seats.
3.
3? Okay. So yeah, what do people want to see us looking for when we're having these interviews?
The one thing that I would suggest is that we want dedication. We want dedication. We want to make sure is that we have individuals that is worthy to the cause. For example, when we have events and, and certain things is that we must adhere to, we need that dedication. We need this committee to run and to be steadfast. So, that's my privy would be a dedication to the cause.
I think what might help in that effort is maybe being able to, as we're recruiting, maybe being able to provide candidates with a clear idea of what it is that we do and what those expectations might be that they'd be dedicated to. So they can make informed decisions about whether they can make that kind of commitment.
And like when we did like last, when we were recruiting, when it goes into the application, there's application from 3 years ago, 4 years ago in there. I think it'll probably be like, we'll have like a term where how long the application can stay on there, on the portal. Or maybe, clarify what the job is and the commitment that we need as a board in general.
I think that right now, I think, is it 3 years that it's held? We did pull some application in there. I think the first step would actually, I would say, to go through the ones that are in there still active and have them go through the process. At the same time, opening to more applications as well.
How do we advertise that? People that may, it's a long time since, I know I saw an announcement in the paper that they were looking for, members, and applied. I don't know how we advertise these things. But it needs to be advertised, I think. You'll get a pool, not just people you know.
Right, if I could, I think we can work with the communication team on getting a notice out about there are openings on the Human Rights Commission and a call for applications for sure.
Great.
Yep.
Would it make sense to reach out to some of the sort of local groups too that are involved in these kinds of efforts in different institutions? I know that on my campus, there are multiple groups at NDSU that are involved in things related to human rights and equity that don't always read the paper. So maybe sort of adding them to the list of things to reach out to, people to reach out to.
That is an issue of especially communication for younger people.
Yeah.
Their social media, and I don't, at least my impression is that the social media milieu for the city of Fargo is not very well developed.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say at the end, but it was a thought I was thinking about after our meeting. So we currently have how many seats again? 3. And it just reminded me again about students. Is there a way to dedicate one of those seats to a college kid?
Oh, that would be interesting. That would be a good idea.
Or is there anything that prevents that from students? I don't know.
Is there?
Many boards have student representation.
Yeah.
And I was just going to say as well that that's actually an interesting dialogue to go down, because I know that Facebook is antiquated for
Yeah.
for the younger generations, and so if that's the only advertising that we're doing along with the paper, we're certainly not getting a wide net. So it's
No, there are other social channels. We can certainly
Yeah.
talk to Greg about that, and there's also ways to boost some of that as well.
yeah.
If I could get back to one idea, or just, I really like the idea of reaching out to a student. I also am the liaison for the Fargo Youth Commission, and they have some pretty dynamic, high school students too that are actively involved and want to get more involved in city government. So that might be a venue as well to think about. They're very active in the community and in their schools, and I think they would really welcome participating in this commission, but
Can we ask them to? Is that a thing?
I'm sure we can, yeah, that will be a takeaway for me. Let me do
Okay.
some research on that, maybe even just as as kind of a liaison member, maybe not with full, but I'll research that for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I don't think we really have representation from the disability community,
No.
which,
Not obvious.
not obvious, well,
Yeah,
yes,
we
I know, but
Yeah.
the broad range of issues that we cover, it would be helpful to have representation on this commission from representing these issues.
Yeah, and I did look at the applications. There are some applicants who, have disabilities, and that's the reason that they're interested. I will remind this commission as well that there was a community comment not that long ago about including people with disabilities on this commission as well.
Yeah, we had Jade was applying on that base. Said that he's gone. He's not here with us in the commission.
Okay.
I would, I guess I would just add, in the mix, I think that, and this, I was first going to say particularly the Human Rights Commission should be paying really close attention to the diversity of representation on the board. But then I'm thinking every commission in the city of Fargo should be paying special attention to diversity and recognizing that how we just talked about how do we get word out to youth, but I think there are some other communities that may not necessarily respond to regular media, that we need to be very specific in how we reach out to members of the LGBTQ community, to the various communities of color, And it's just, if we do the same thing, we'll get the same results.
Right.
So anyway, I think that's a challenge that we always have. We've done very successful in recruiting diversity, but we can't let up on that.
Barry, and with that being said, I believe in fact is that we need to start being more creative on how we are doing what we do. Let's think outside of the box and let's put some things into some kind of think outside of the box of perspective, because as you said, you do the same thing over and over, you're going to get the same results. Mm-hmm. So thinking outside of the box, and if any of you great scholars, if you have any, any kind of, recommendations or what have you, please bring those forth. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that Kimber expressed to me yesterday that we have some members is if their tenure have expired, their time have expired. So I think that's something that we may need to look into, because they are still continuing to do what they're doing on the board. But, if we need to put structure into place, we need to put structure into place.
I have two suggestions in terms of recruiting is sort of doing what we're doing with the election board issues is going to those groups that we want involved in polling and saying, hey, here's another opportunity for you to, be civically engaged. Also flyers, frankly, at coffee shops and and churches and community organizations I find are a great way. I always look at them. People who volunteer, I think, tend to go to those kinds of places. So I would suggest those kinds of places.
That's a good idea.
I know another member had shared at NDSU not knowing how many people read the paper and being able to be creative with recruitment through different forms of communication. And I can bring that there's 3 open seats to that of the Presidential Council on Diversity. I'm a member of that, as well as multiple other circles, and really look at, targeting recruitment for those various populations that we do see underserved and not represented currently.
Fantastic.
And Nancy, I think, again, uses the broadest approach to that. I know that I talked to somebody who was interested in serving on a commission, and I was presumptive, seeing who they were, and said, oh, we'd love to have you on the Human Rights Commission. And they said, I'm not interested in the Human Rights Commission. Don't pay me just because of who I am. They were interested in something different, and which was great. So we probably could be recruiting for all of our city commissions when we are doing that for our own.
Absolutely. Very good point of thinking beyond even the Human Rights Commission, but all commissions, and really looking at that representation.
Okay. Do you want to make a comment?
Do we have a time frame on this? I hear that the positions are open now. So is there a time that applications will be gone through and interviews will occur?
As soon as possible.
Is it rolling? Is it kind of rolling just as things become, or is there a certain time of year that you do this, or what?
The seat term expires, I think, June 30th?
July
30th?
July 1st.
July 30th.
Okay.
We were supposed to be looking
And so,
before.
yeah, I know, they were supposed to be filled already. But it's typically in the summertime before the July marker that we should have them sat, for lack of a better phrase. But yeah, so again, going forward, I think it's mainly like in the springtime that we want to be recruiting and have those interviews, and by July we want to have them installed.
Sorry about that. I just needed to get a little bit of clarification if we were actually doing a statement out officially or just generally speaking here on an event that happened in our community that I think we as a community should stand up for and support for any kind of act of hate. And what I'm referencing and talking about was actually covered in the paper this week, and it has to do with the school board member who has publicly been attacked. Well, not publicly, but has been receiving voicemails and hate mail emails throughout the country, unfortunately, and wanted to bring that to light here and share our thoughts that we are here to support her, that we are here to provide any guidance. We are here to connect with the community leaders that can really get to the bottom on investigating issues that are local, and just wanted to offer that support for the school board member who's currently being attacked, racially motivated attacks that's happening in our community. And yeah, so just wanted to bring that to light so that we can really, and I really do encourage those that are watching online to reach out to your community leaders and support them, because you elected them to represent you. So there's no reason for nationwide attack on individuals that you elected to speak for you, to support you, and to have your voice. So if there's a difference between disagreement on someone's vote or someone's voice, but there is no need to racially motivated attack on individuals. So.
I 100% support that. I also had a comment or sort of a question, I guess, that I wanted to pose. And I don't know if this is something for our commission or just sort of a thing that I should just say. But I know recently that the City Commission has been considering whether to expand access to birth control for their employees being covered under insurance. And it's something that we should be talking about as a commission, but I think that access to birth control is access to basic health care. And health care to me is a human right. So I just wanted to, I guess, ask, should we also have something like that we should be addressing? And if not, then I will just say that myself as a commissioner, that I think that this is an important human rights issue, especially as North Dakota continues to restrict women's access to abortion. So I just, want to put that out there as a thing that I think is important for us to consider, as well as for the City Commission.
I concur. It's part of basic health care.
Yep.
If they do Viagra, they can do birth control.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And I'll add that the state recently expanded access to birth control for their state employees because the insurance company said that it was cheaper for them to cover it than to not. So put that out there.
So I'll just comment that we're still negotiating with the health insurance provider for next year, and there's room in the budget that's proposed at this point in still draft format that allows us to do some negotiation. I come from a health insurance background, so what's a little confusing is that the city of Fargo has a grandfathered plan under the Affordable Care Act, and if you make within 5% changes, you change the status of that. So that's one of the lingering issues.
Sure.
But we're certainly looking at that, and we're going to have conversations about how we could include that.
Great.
And I know that in the past, I think we've sent like letters or notes up the chain, like from this commission to the City Commission, just to have it like on record our stance on things. So if you'd like, we can. I think we would need to make a motion on it, maybe, but we could send a note to City Commission, like giving the stance from our commission.
That would be So if I can move on that, then yes. I second that if we need to do a motion.
All in favor of sending a message to the City Commission, say aye.
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 And could I go back to Ahmed?
Yes.
Ahmed,
Yes.
point, and I would certainly, I think there's two levels we need to be addressing. I made a note here that I need to personally reach out to my school board members who are coming in under attack and offering support. But I think we as so duly noted. Thank you, Ahmad, for reminding the importance of what we do as citizens. But then I do think we as a commission should. I would make a motion that we abhor any expressions of hate crime whether it occurs to a citizen or an elected official, and would condemn these actions and call them as they are, hate crimes.
I second that.
Thank you.
Is that an official motion that you're making? What was it?
No.
Yes, that we would send a statement of support to Niamal Day.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Right, motion passes. That's a lot. Okay, well, support. Okay. Then I guess one other thing that I would like to ask is Sergeant Jacobson, if we could just talk about again, like the actual path that people need to follow in order to like report hate crimes and how that actually works from a community standpoint. Like if voicemails or hateful messages are received, like what needs to happen from the police standpoint.
So anytime you feel that you're the victim of any kind of a crime, hate crime or not, my recommendation is you call the emergency or non-emergency dispatch number and have an officer come out, and they will discuss the situation of which is occurring to you. And then from there, we will be able to investigate and determine what law is being violated and document accordingly. Is that real? I mean, so obviously, city hate crimes in North Dakota are complex. And so luckily in Fargo, we do have a city ordinance, but it is only for low-level B misdemeanor offenses, and the three of them are, why am I blanking out off the top of my head?
It's okay, I have no idea.
It's simple assault, I'm sorry, criminal mischief and harassment, sorry. And so those are the ones that fall under City of Fargo ordinance, and then from there, the majority of it will be discussed on a federal platform. And the complexity is oftentimes offenses that are higher level into the felony level are prosecuted at the state's attorney's level and don't often fall under that hate crime complexities. But that being said or not, if you are the victim of any type of a crime, you call the police and let us investigate to ensure that you are both physically safe, but also emotionally safe. And then we will investigate it and determine based on the information that you are providing, if and for sure what law is being violated. And then we would document it accordingly, investigate it to the full of our abilities to do so.
Thank you.
Just have one question, if I can ask, please. Because of this situation, if it's local and outside of the Fargo police jurisdiction, if the harassments also include, perceived threat, does the victim need to initiate?
So we can never
Or-
take a documented report from a third-party reporter. So the individuals that are being directly victimized have to be the ones reporting. So if, in this case, if someone is communicating with you as a board member, you cannot file a police report on their behalf. The only exception to that rule is guardianship, like parental guardianships. Parents can file police reports on behalf of their children or in that role of guardianship type situations. So the individuals who feel that they are being, a law is being violated against them, whether it be harassment, terrorizing, threats, whatever, they have to be the direct reporter, and we have to follow through with the investigation. And so in situations such as this, they are overwhelmingly complex because we also have to be able to identify a suspect. And then there's additional levels of complexity based on jurisdiction and what we're capable of doing to access the individuals if and when it's occurring nationally or internationally and those types of things. And so there are layers to this. And then in situations such as this, we do communicate with our state and federal partners as well, as we have already done in the situation against the school board, because it is not just against one school board member, it is occurring over the majority of them. And so there's a lot of layers and levels of discussion that is occurring.
Thank you.
All right, any more comments in that vein?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all the updates I have. And if anybody else had anything that they wanted to mention?
I think there's something going on today with the North Dakota Human Rights Commission. Barry, you want to talk to that?
Thanks, Mature. Yeah, let's talk celebration for a moment. We have a lot of pretty serious topics that we need to be covering, and that's rightfully so. Tonight, 5:30 to 7:30, there is a 20th anniversary birthday celebration for North Dakota Human Rights Coalition being held at Drecker Brewing Company, 1666 First Avenue North. There's going to be food from Chef's Table, a short program, history montage, and just a chance to get together with other advocates to celebrate 20 years and look ahead for the needs of the next 20 years. So please join us.
And then in that vein as well, is the FM LGBTQ plus film festival happening soon? Is that a thing? Okay. I've just
It
seen
is a thing.
I've just seen some media on that, so I thought that was happening soon as well. I think the Human Family is doing that though, yeah?
In September, yes.
Next month. Okay. Okay, neat. All right, is there any other business? Hearing none, this meeting of the Human Rights Commission stands adjourned. Our next meeting is scheduled for September 15th at noon.